Hello, boys and girls. I am SidAlpha, and welcome to Storytime with me, your friendly host, SidAlpha. Yes, I haven't done one of these in quite a while, and usually it's because I didn't want to overdo it, and this series of videos is not well watched. It's probably the lowest viewed style of content on my channel, so I don't do it very often. But there are enough people that have showed interest in the videos that I still put some out every once in a while. And I wanted to put one out because I'm not sure whether or not I'll actually be able to get to my first impressions review tomorrow, because real life work, unfortunately, is getting in the way. It's going to be an exceptionally crazy week, so my schedule might get disrupted a little bit. So I wanted to make sure to at least have something on hand for you guys. Of course, I'm going to be recording this Monday night, so for those of you that are watching this on Tuesday, if you don't see an Is It Worth It video appear, that's why. It's because work got in the way, but I wanted to make sure to keep to my schedule and have something for you guys, because that schedule is important, damn it, and I'm going to hold to it no matter what. So yeah, this is story time. So this is me. Usually I just talk about things that have happened in my past. I've had drunken prom nights and, let's see, yelling at fires and getting deer drunk and all sorts of wacky things. We're going to go back a little bit further for this one. Back to when I was a very young child of 12 years old. Yes, 12. Even I was a child at one point in time, in the before time, in the long ago. Oh, yes. Yes, this was a thing. The heady days of the past, when I was but a wee lad. And the house we were living in at the time was an oddly shaped one. It had an ultra long living room, and my bedroom was just off of one end of it. And the way my parents had the furniture and everything set up, I found out fairly early that after they sent me to bed, I'd stay in bed, because every once in a while they'd check, And so I'd stay in bed for a while, probably about a half hour or whatever, and then I could creep up, and my door was cracked just far enough that I could one eyeball that shit and be able to continue watching TV. Oh, I was a naughty child. Oh, yes. Yes, quite so. And so I got into a habit of doing that. And I don't know whether they just let it happen or if they honestly didn't know. I never really had the heart to ask them, because I know my parents, they're just going to say, yeah, we knew the whole time. Because parents are like that. So one evening, my parents sent us kids to bed a little early, about a half hour early, because there was going to be a movie on that my parents really wanted to see, but they knew it wasn't appropriate for a 12-year-old child to be watching. Not at that time. Oh, no. And of course, that movie was Stephen King's It. Yes, quite so. It. I know Stephen King's movies, a lot of them aren't that scary for us now that we're adults, but when you're a 12-year-old child and you've never seen imagery like that before in your entire life, it's a very new, chilling experience for you. Now, before I go too much further into this, I actually have to tell you guys one thing real quick. Now, my channel is named SidAlpha because my name is Sid. My legal first name is Sydney. Sidney. Mouse. But I've been called Richie for as long as I can remember. Since before I can remember. Because my middle name is Richard. So they called me Richie, which is a damn sight better than getting called Dick. So I grew up, and I'm still accustomed to people just calling me Richie, even though my legal first name is Sydney. And so I'm sitting there, 12-year-old Richie. I'm sitting there, I'm one eyeballing at that thing, like just watching this thing, and then this is some fucked up shit. This Pennywise dude, he's gonna kill these fucking kids. It's gonna be so horrible. Oh my god. This is just, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know. So I kept watching. And I kept watching. And there's just a little part of me that just stayed scared. And there came that moment when Pennywise came out of the ground, and he was staring right at the camera, which means he's staring right at you, no matter who you are, which means he was staring right at me, which is scary enough because he just turned and just, in my memory, he just came out of the ground and then just stared straight at me. Oh, and the seconds stretched out into minutes. Time seemed to slow down and to freeze for a long moment as those cold, dead eyes burrowed into my very soul with those jagged teeth poking out. Oh, he was a terrifying sight for me when I was 12. Oh, yes, very much so. And then he uttered the words that chilled my soul, staring right at me. He goes, "Beep, beep, Richie." Burrowed myself under the covers, thinking I would be safe from this horrifying clown that is threatening to come out of the TV and eat me for all I know. Oh my God, he's real. And I hear out in the living room my father, dearest father, laughing his ass off. Cruel, cruel man. Gave no thought, no care whatsoever in the world that his poor defenseless child was about to be attacked by this horrifying clown. Not only that, but I got grounded. I got grounded too. Oh yes, I did. I got very much grounded for being terrified by a clown, which at the time I thought was completely and utterly unfair and unjust punishment for almost getting eaten, almost getting my soul devoured by Pennywise so he could continue haunting this town for another couple hundred years. And since that day, since that horrible, frightful day, clowns are fucking terrifying to me. They are. Clowns are just terrifying to me. I can't stand them. I hate them. I can't be near them. Whatever. They just freak me the fuck out. Now, I'm apparently not the only one who has gotten scared by clowns, because this story actually continues. The story actually continues. Fast forward a little over a decade. Just a little over a decade. I think I was like 23, 24 years old. Me and my daughter's mother and one of my best friends, the three of us were living in this ranch house in town. Nice little place, horrible wiring. The stove ended up burning up. That's a Thanksgiving story I actually think I told in a previous episode that occurred in that house, that our first year. And we were all sitting there watching Stephen King's It. And I was actually relating this same very story to my friends, and they thought it was hilarious. But one of our friends that was over there watching the movie with us, she had a similar horror story with the movie when she was a young girl. And at the time, because it's a ranch house that we lived in. It was very long, and the bathroom was like all the way in the back. And so she went up to go to the bathroom. Unbeknownst to her, the only light switch for the hallway light was out in the living room. So Eric flipped the light switch off, plunging the hallway into near complete darkness, and then went into his bedroom, which is just, from her point of view, as she's coming out, would be just right of the hallway, just off to the right-hand side, and she has to go past it to get back to the living room, the source of light, the source of the area, the cone of protection that the light provides was so far away down that darkened hallway. And she was already kind of freaked out because we were all telling stories about it, and we were watching it, and it freaked her out really bad when she was younger. And she was 19 years old at the time that this happened. And so she's walking down the hallway, and we're all out in the living room just talking like normal. So she has no idea that behind that gaping darkness just to her right was a giant of a man whose sole intent is to scare the holy living dog shit out of her. Yes. Oh, Eric is a big guy. Yeah, he's like 6'2", I think 6'3", very large, very muscular. He'd been studying martial arts since he was a wee lad, so he was very built, very fast, very big guy, and yeah, he could be very intimidating if he wanted to be, but he was still one of the nicest guys on the face of the earth. It's usually the way it turns out. And one of the best men I've ever known in my entire life, too. But not that night. Oh, no. So in that, of course, you know what's going to happen. She's going to go walking by, scared, and then all of a sudden, out of this cavernous darkness just to her right, she hears a voice that's just mere inches away from her. "We all float down here!" She levitated. She was so scared. She literally came up off of the ground, hit him 5 or 6 times whilst shrieking, and then tore back down the hallway into the bathroom, slammed and locked the door. Which, of course, we thought was fucking perfect. It took probably about, what was it, about 15 minutes of coaxing, and 15 minutes of coaxing. And she got that scared that she the whole while shrieking, just up off the ground and just pounding away at him. And not lightly either. She actually managed to bruise that big fucker. And so, yeah, Stephen King helping, not necessarily scaring people directly, but definitely helping people to scare the shit out of others since the early 90s. Thank you, Stephen King, and thank you guys for watching. I know this is going to be a little bit short as far as the Storytime video goes. Next time I do one, I will plan out something a little bit longer. I've got a lot of stories. A lot of things happened to me when I was younger, so there's a lot of things to talk about. Oh my god, I almost choked there. So, but I'm going to wrap it up in the meantime. Again, thanks, boys and girls, for watching. Remember, if you like this video, don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button. And while you're at it, give that whole thing a share, why don't you? And do me a kindness. All right, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha.